Welcome to PeopleMap, the sales visual strategy platform. In this short video, we're going to explore jobs in the objective management module. The first is influence mapping, which demystifies complex selling by using whiteboard techniques to identify, engage, and move the multitude of buying influencers to say yes. And the second is action planning, to provide an easy method to progress your influence map over the course of your sales cycle. Complex selling, also known as B2B or enterprise selling, occurs when a significant number of people influence the buying decision. Research suggests the average number of influencers in complex selling is 5.4 decision makers per deal. An influence map is a graphical representation of a deal that includes all the influencers and the relationships between them. We've all done something like this at some point, on a whiteboard with our manager, on a legal pad in an airport, or on a cocktail napkin at the restaurant after a customer meeting. We take a picture of it and store it on our phone. It's a great reference, but it's a one-time effort and it can't be modified as your deal changes. Capturing the information in a CRM system is a great way to monitor the deal, but it doesn't provide you a way of visually analyzing and selecting the best way to execute the deal. Capturing the information in a visual strategy tool allows you to analyze and modify your strategy over time, and allows you to share it with selling team members. It also provides a great way of storing pictures for future references, best practices, lessons learned, or new hire training. So why is influence mapping critical in complex selling? One is to ensure you've identified all the relevant influencers from all the areas and disciplines. All too often this is overlooked. We assume we know who the influencers are, or only seek out the people we are comfortable with. We miss identifying influencers who are critical to the deal. Deals are postponed or even lost because the key decision maker on the buying side of the equation was never identified. Second is to better understand and develop each relevant influencer's profile. Each buying influencer has their own business reasons, attitudes, opinions, and personal wins for wanting or not wanting your proposal to go through. Each influencer should be understood and managed appropriately so that you can either leverage their support, attempt to change their opinion, or mitigate their objection. Third is to understand how a group of influencers make buying decisions as a collective. Each influencer has a role to play, and everyone would like to get their way. But there is usually a small subset of influencers who are the actual decision makers, and still others who hold the purse strings. To add to this, there is usually a buying process that must be followed, but many times the people making the decisions don't know what that process is. It can get complicated and bogged down very quickly if you aren't prepared. The bottom line for why influence mapping is critical is that it improves your ability to see what's going on and to develop strategy and tactics that fit each unique selling situation. You will identify the winning approach faster and more often. So what does this process look like? Let's take a look. Mapping a complex sale is a simple four-step process that is repeated over and over until the deal is closed. Why is this an iterative cycle and not a linear process? Over the course of a long sales cycle, stuff happens. Key buying influencers will come and go. Organizations restructure. Budgets are cut. Alternative solutions emerge. Price increases go into effect. Anything can happen, and capturing those changes on your map prepares you for what's to come. At the start, engage with anyone familiar with the opportunity to gather information. Engage with your customers, partners, opinion leaders, or any other sources about the selling objective. Next, draw and update your influence map for your selling objective. Illustrate information and insights you've gathered on the objective landscape. Use simple drawing tools to organize your thoughts. Add fun avatars to represent your influencers and tag them as decision makers or budget holders. Give them personas. Draw the relationships between the influencers. Next, you want to spend a little time developing a strategy to go along with the masterpiece you just created. Analyze who influences who, or how each buying influencer would vote right now if you were to call for a show of hands. Add text boxes and make notes for yourself and your team about different things you should be considering. Ask yourself questions to identify missing information you'll need to be successful. Lastly, use the on-screen action plan to capture what your next step should be in executing your strategy. Who should you meet with and when? Who should you be introduced to? What needs to be done to identify who the real decision makers are? How can you mitigate your competitors' influence? This is where the rubber meets the road. Each incremental activity will move you one step closer to fulfilling your strategy and achieving your success with your objective. As you continue to engage with your customers, things will change. No worries though, your influence map wasn't meant to be static. Continue gathering information and updating your map. Adjust your strategy and determine next steps in your action plan. When done well, this simple 4-step process will improve your chances for success. In the next short video, we'll get into the app and work through a selling situation that demonstrates how you go about drawing and analyzing your influence maps, and how you create and modify your action plans to match.